Looks like we're getting really close to the I-59 corridor. Here's Fort Payne, for example. Here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the lightning off because I think that's going to make things easier to see. So here's the interstate. Here's Fort Payne. I want to switch radar products just a little bit. I want to see if we can find our area of rotation. So we're going to flip this over to our velocity image, and this is going to be kind of tough considering where we are in the Tennessee Valley. If I can find an area of increased wind shear, that would also be of benefit. I see an area of increased wind shear here, right around the Fort Payne area. So if you're in Fort Payne, I would highly suggest getting into your tornado safe place. Really interesting things that the radar does at this point when we're over in far northeast Alabama. Nonetheless, a radar indicated tornado warning in effect until 4 o'clock this afternoon. This is going to run for DeKalb County. Again, if you're in Fort Payne, I really think you need to be getting into your tornado safe place. I can use some other indicators to try and find our exact area of interest. Now, this storm does have a history of producing a fair amount of hail. What could have happened is this storm could have weakened about as quickly as it picked up. I want to chat with our friends at the National Weather Service, just checking to see if they've provided any sort of update, and they have not. But we do have a tornado warning in effect for DeKalb County. That's going to run until 4 o'clock this afternoon. We're going to be watching this area here right around Fort Payne. Looks like we've been talking about some broad rotation. Now, this storm does have a history of kind of cycling in over itself over the last several minutes. It's been doing it since we've been watching this storm back across Guntersville and Geraldine. This storm kind of cycled up and then cycled down. It was a somewhat impressive area of rotation for at least a couple of minutes, and then it cycled down, and it has since cycled back up. So this is something we're going to continue to watch here for the next several minutes. Again, we have a tornado warning in effect for DeKalb County. That is going to get us until 4 o'clock this afternoon. And again, it looks like we're going to be zeroed in on Fort Payne. If you're in Fort Payne, you need to be getting into your tornado safe place. You kind of notice this area here. Let me go ahead and circle this. And this is what tells me that this is going to be our area of interest. You can kind of see where this storm is a little bit stronger, where we're getting into some of the darker reds, getting into some of the brighter pinks, indicating a pocket of very heavy rain. It's at this point that I think we're also going to see our gusty winds, just simply based on the fact that this is probably the strongest part of this storm. So again, if you're in Fort Payne, just to the south of Fort Payne, you need to be in your tornado safe place. If you're in Fife, you are just on the other side of this tornado warning. So a tornado warning in effect for DeKalb County that's going to run until 4 o'clock this afternoon. So we still got about another 20 minutes or so on that. I want to go back and see if I can find, I'll take the pencil markings off. I want to go back and see if I can find any areas of increased wind shear, and I'm not seeing it too well. And again, that can be something that is oftentimes rather tricky when you have these storms that develop over in northeast Alabama. All the changes in elevation can make things rather tricky over in far northeast Alabama. But again, it looks like we're going to be zeroed in on this area right around Fort Payne. Again, if you're in Fort Payne, you need to be getting into your tornado safe place. Kind of looks like we're going to be watching the I-59 corridor. So if you know anybody in Fort Payne, give them a call. Tell them that they need to be getting into their tornado safe place sooner rather than later. So, tornado warning in effect for DeKalb County. That's going to run until 4 o'clock this afternoon. This is radar indicated. We have no confirmed reports that a tornado was on the ground, but this has been a really strong storm over its lifespan. We've been watching it for the last several minutes. Again, I was just telling you that this storm was moving through Geraldine and the Guntersville area here over the last 15 minutes or so, and it actually had a point where it had a fair amount of a really solid rotation associated with it. But then it kind of weakened and strengthened again, and then it weakened again, and now we're at the state that we're currently at, where we're confident that there is the potential of a tornado on the ground. So this is something we're going to continue to watch for the next several minutes. Kind of looks like the storm might have weakened as the strongest part of this storm is beginning to move over Fort Payne. I don't really see a whole lot of rotation here, and if the rotation is here, at this point, I would fare to say that the rotation is very broad, which would again kind of begin to imply that maybe the storm has weakened. I can try and look at, I don't think I'm going to get any additional assistance by looking at the Birmingham radar. No, that's not going to do anything for me. So I can go back here and let's look at Huntsville. Now, the thing about these storms is they have been moving rather quickly through the course of the afternoon. As a matter of fact, this storm specifically is moving. Just a second, I can pull this up and tell you this information. This storm is moving to the east at about 50 miles per hour. So these storms are moving very, very quickly. And again, this storm here over Fort Payne and DeKalb County has had a history of cycling up and then down over the last several minutes. And it looks like that's what it's doing right now. So I want to continue to follow this until we at least get to the top of the hour or until they expire the tornado warning early. And I think there's a chance that they might just go ahead and do that. I'm just trying to keep with updates as far as the National Weather Service is concerned. It always helps to have more eyes on a specific storm. So we're going to keep with the tornado warning and then the potential for hail. So that's something we're going to continue to pay attention to here over the next several minutes. So tornado warning in effect for DeKalb County. That's going to run until 4 o'clock this afternoon. Storm moving to the east. Storm's going to move at about 50 miles per hour. So these storms are moving somewhat quickly, and at this point, it looks like we're going to be focused on this area here. See, now it looks like as the radar is updated, it looks like the storm has strengthened just a little bit. Some of those brighter pinks went away, and now as the radar has updated, it looks like that storm has strengthened again. As a matter of fact, I say that, and it would appear that the National Weather Service has gone ahead and canceled that tornado warning for DeKalb County. So the tornado warning that was in effect for DeKalb County is now no longer in effect for DeKalb County. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stick with you here at least for a few minutes, just so we can continue to watch this entire line of showers and thunderstorms as it moves out of the Tennessee Valley and eventually moves out of DeKalb County. So we are watching the area in the circle, which is still just a little bit in DeKalb County. So we're going to continue to pay attention to it here. So you can kind of see there's a lot of gray here. You've got the greens and you've got the reds, winds going towards and away from the radar. But then there is a lot of gray here. So while the rotation is here in DeKalb County, the rotation is very, very, very broad, but it's going to be something that I want to watch just over the next 5 or so minutes. I'm not going to keep you from too much of your regular programming, but it's still something that I want to focus on. So the tornado warning is no longer in effect for DeKalb County. We are going to watch this little sliver as this storm continues to push its way on out of DeKalb County. In the meantime, I think I want to zoom things out and show you the entire Tennessee Valley as a whole. We're dry across northwest Alabama, Lauderdale, Colbert, down into Franklin County. We're dry across Lawrence County. We're still talking about some hit or miss shower and thunderstorm activity across Madison County down into Morgan and Coleman County. And then, of course, we're still talking about scattered showers and thunderstorms, a little more widespread in nature across northeast Alabama, Jackson, DeKalb, and Marshall County. I want to go ahead and throw the lightning tracker back on here. A little bit of lightning in Madison County, a little bit of lightning down southern Madison County, Owens Crossroads down into New Hope, talking about a little bit of lightning. And then back across Marshall County, but we're certainly not talking about any severe weather. The only bit of severe weather we continue to have is going to be this activity, this little cluster of storms here in DeKalb County. So we're going to zoom in there on these storms in DeKalb County. Again, if you're in Fort Payne, still making a lot of noise, but you are no longer under the gun. So Fife, Rainsville, Sylvania. Again, it's raining really hard in Sylvania, a little bit of thunder, a little bit of lightning, Sylvania down into Rainsville, even down into Fife, but we're not talking about any severe weather at this point. Some heavier rain, some gusty winds into Fort Payne. Wind gusts through the course of the afternoon had a history of being 40 or 50 miles per hour. We're not talking about any of that activity right now. And at this point, it looks like the strongest part of this storm is now beginning to move out of DeKalb County. So what's left for DeKalb County? Maybe some gusty winds, maybe some very, very heavy rain. I would not be the least bit surprised if some folks currently find themselves without power. These storms do have a history of knocking out power, especially not just this afternoon, but over the last several days as well. And that's something I'm certainly looking into. I'm trying to find out if we've just had more storms this summer or what's been going on. But at this point, it looks like our severe thunderstorm warning has been expired for DeKalb County. And if I zoom things out, that would tell me that we have absolutely no severe weather left. So I'm going to stick with you just until 10 till. I want to stick with you until 350, a nice whole number, and then I'll get you right back to programming. I think a good chunk of the Tennessee Valley is under a severe thunderstorm watch. I know a number of counties have been dropped from that severe thunderstorm watch. I know for a fact if you're west of the I-65 corridor, you have been dropped from the severe thunderstorm watch. The only folks left it would appear are Coleman County, Madison County, Morgan County, DeKalb, Jackson, and Marshall County. So a number of folks still sitting under the severe thunderstorm watch: Jackson, DeKalb, Marshall, Morgan, Coleman, and Madison counties. But as far as Madison County is concerned, as far as Morgan County is concerned, and at this point, as far as Coleman County is concerned, I would probably say that the severe weather threat is over. And at this point, you could say that the severe weather threat is over for much of the Tennessee Valley. Still dealing with some stronger storms back across DeKalb County, Fort Payne, back into Fife a little bit. But again, there's no severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for DeKalb County. So while we're certainly talking about some stronger thunderstorms, as of right now, it doesn't look like we're talking about any severe weather. So certainly beginning to quiet down a lot of this activity, now beginning to move into northwest Georgia. We're just left with some rain across Madison County, Jackson, DeKalb, down into Marshall counties. Morgan County still dealing with a little bit of rain. If you're going to be traveling down I-65, Morgan County, here over the next several minutes, you might have to deal with a little bit of rain. Or if your plans allow you to, you could just wait a couple of extra minutes to leave, and then you would be free of any rain. So, considering the fact that things are much quieter across the Tennessee Valley, we're still dealing with the stronger thunderstorm back in DeKalb County. But again, that doesn't come with a severe thunderstorm warning or anything like that. The tornado warning has been allowed to expire. I think I'm going to go ahead and send you back to regular programming. But I am going to have more details on additional opportunities for severe weather tonight on Fox 54 News at 5:30. So be sure to tune in, and I'll have all of that information for you. In the meantime, I'll send you back to regular programming. Wonderful.